To what and to whom does one give loyalty to when there is such a variety and variations of knowing what is for the self as important and what is not? To what does one give loyalty to? I heard that. That's why I'm bringing it up. It's pertaining to what is going on in the general mundane world. That means the material world, mundane, everyday life. To where is there for any one of us, a focus on to what do we give loyalty to when we receive or seek it to come to us. This is the Arcana Veil. This is a collective. This is a look into the deeper spaces of the consciousness or the reality in which we function within. We have animus, the masculine aspect, the ability to create, to bring forward, to push forward, to seed the womb of the consciousness. Libra, Leo, Garden, Pisces. We have three elements here that are presenting themselves. One is air, one is fire, and one is water. In the nature of the state of this realization, those are building blocks. We can use the garden as the earth that form out the building blocks for creation to take place. The animus inside every one of us is the masculine principle that determines what requires a thought to be seeded. In other words, where's your thought going to go towards for what it is that you wish to bring to yourself? For many of you, I'm picking up that there has been a lot of work done to establish a new pathway going forward. There's been a lot of hype about what this eclipse means to everyone, but I would say you should take this on an individual perspective, because though it is a radical overall impact that hasn't happened for many years, the same trajectory in terms of personal growth should be taken with regards to that. The masculine force, the star, which is the sun, has been shadowed by the movements of the moon. Then it means that what is there within the masculine that needs to be observed? What do you need to observe? What are your building plans for your path forward? I can say it like that, or I can say it to you and say that there's a lot of focus, a lot of requirements that are needed to build your next pathway forward for yourself internally. I can say it in many ways. You get the drift. You understand what I mean. We have temperance under the animus. We have fool under Libra. We have sadness and regret here in the point of Leo. We have the Hierophant in reverse in the garden. And we have the Queen of Swords under Pisces. These are all characters that are playing out the part for the story to begin. That is now after the king has now, a new king has now been born again, after the old king has been laid to rest. This is the archetypal representation for the moon. For the sun. The lion hands over his reign to his son, yet there is a lot of sadness and regret for doing that. Perhaps the old man did not want to let go of the reins. This could be important for someone. This may be of interest to your pathway. Underneath the deck we have death. I will place this here. This is the foundation for the reading. This is the releasing of that which has traversed through time to come and bring a particular age to become born into the reality, so that people would live in that belief and that perspective for it to take place. There is a lot of slowing down and focusing on wanting to know, is there some leadership taking place? Is there some guidance that's going to happen? Is the angel going to protect me when I do this and that and that? And in the heart of the nature here, right under the lion, the Leo, there is sadness and regret. There is a feeling of perhaps not having done what was supposed to do. The masculine part of the development of oneself in a simpler level. If this is not easy to be understood, which I don't believe it is, because you, the collective, and many of you who are not part of the collective, are wise enough to understand the level in which the material is being presented, is saying to me that you wish to understand where we are going now from here, where to now from here. And what it shows is there is a lot of movement that has already taken place long before the figurative representation of the king who has lost his head and has given reign to his son, that is to follow thereafter, by taking up the connection with a much more lighter perspective in terms of owning who the self is. There is also a lot of focus needed to try and understand how the reality allows for these things to reform themselves within the self. There is a release of that which is old. In other words, all of these things that you've been focused on, all of these things that you may have believed in, are put to rest, that may not have been of substance to you. So you are letting go of all of that. You are doing the ceremony. You are releasing that which has no more bearing over your life. This is essentially a review of a release and the after math or death of the previous age within you. We have the Pisces here that is right over the Queen of Swords, which is indicating that there's a great deal of spiritual growth and mysticism that is now becoming born into this reality. I would say that this is being aspected or triggered or touched on within this particular collective, because this is the information that you seek on a much deeper level. This is the esoterica of the wisdom that you seek to know from. We know that if the Hierophant is in reverse, that there is not much that could be held in secret anymore. There's a lot of things that are coming out. We have the Unicorn Spirit under the Temperance. We have the Queen of Wands under the Fool. And there's a flowing of releasing that which is in the heart. Ten of Swords, which is in perspective often perceived as a process where there isn't much of anything coming through. We have the Goat Spirit here under the reverse Hierophant, and we have the Wolf Spirit under the Queen of Swords. There is a hunger for energy to sustain itself. There is a desire to rectify what has been left behind now. There is, remember in the last read, if you haven't seen it, about the woo-woo, there is a release of frequency because you're entering into the arc of awareness of light within the consciousness, and that is casting a shadow over that which does not serve anymore. And what we have here now is now we're looking at the shadow of what has been left behind and what is inside still that has potentially needed to be freed from the self. But you require the animus, the masculine, in order to do that. You need to require the sword of the Queen of Swords to be able to cut through that which doesn't belong anymore. You're now at the precipice of exiting an old reality of belief in terms of what it used to hold over you on a personal level, Leo, the self, and what you're letting go of, releasing in the regrets and the sadness. Are there any more of that left? Are you in the process of clearing out that frequency now for yourself? We are seeing that there are 3 animal spirits here that are very important, that are sort of building the foundation for the reading, and it's about a journey which is predominantly coming through very strongly. The desire to experience the connection with the unicorn spirit, the uniqueness of the true spirit in itself, is desired at all times. There is a seeking to want to know. They used to call Jesus the unicorn. On their shields and banners they had the unicorn because they wanted to venerate their kings and queens to be as priceless and as godlike as the unicorn. But we have a wolf spirit on the other end which could actually also attack the unicorn, or the unicorn could actually protect itself by using its horn. Animus, the masculine part of the principal self. We have the goat spirit here as well. No, it does not mean the greatest of all things, although I see that's a thing that seems to float around in the world. The actual meaning of the goat in itself is the goat was used once at every period of a village that would need to bring in taxes. They would have to get a goat to sacrifice as one that will take the blame for most people for their sins, so that their harvest the next season would be more substantial for them. So a goat had to be sent out into the wild. That was a black goat that was done in that way, and if it was a white goat, it was sacrificed for the harvest for the next age. This is very ritualistic in terms of the back in the day time. So why does this all come through in this reading? Because there is a frequency, a desire to want to know, what must I cut off? What must I let go of? How can I be better in myself? How can I be true to my form? How can I do all of these things? Must I sacrifice something of myself? And the energy shows that you do not have to do that, because it is the Hierophant is in reverse right over the goat. And yet there is the garden there. You don't have to stand on your head to go into the garden. You don't have to bend yourself backwards or turn something into a sacrifice to be able to enter the garden, because you are already in the garden. It is where you are within your true self and what you have taken note of to remind you of being in the garden. Why is in the heart of the nature here sadness, regret? Underneath the lion here, the 10 of Swords is there, the release. For some people feel upset that they couldn't do their rituals or their magical thinking in order to give them an extra boost of things to happen, because once the old king has passed away, which was overshadowed by Mother Moon, Luna, to cry by his grave and to still raise her son as the new king, because this is the symbolic meaning of this particular solar eclipse. That is the occult reason for it, or the esoteric reason for it. You have let go of things that you now cannot change anymore. That has happened. But out of that comes the Fool. Out of that is a reborn. Out of that is a rebirth, and a unicorn is born again. And the Queen of Wands takes her stride along with her son, and she moves the kingdom forward. The empire lives again. This is basically just a ritual that I've just explained to you. There's nothing ominously scary about the story. It is merely what the energies in the reality speak of. The universe speaks in symbols and story. And those are the narratives that people either are focused on, that are feeling experienced, they are feeling shaped by it. It's what gave people the idea that there should be 12 archetypes, and no one is, and there's nothing more than that. There's only 12 types of people in the world, and that's it. Don't break your head in thinking there should be any other more personalities coming through. I mean, that sort of thing. How are we leading out here? What are we letting go of and releasing from ourselves? Knight of Cups here, taking us into the age of the soul, the spirit, the feeling, the higher sense, the Hanged Man. That is oddly number 12, is placed here, and there is a bigger perspective, a greater awareness, a much more lighter way of observing the way that we have been touched by the finger of God within our true hearts, of understanding, of our knowing, of what we truly have looked for. In simple terms, the day you felt really, really upset about something really bad, and in the few hours you started to feel better because something else happened, and you realized, oh, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was bad, it was really fucking bad, but I got over it. And I'm better now. Type of idea, type of scenario. We have nightmares here, releasing all nightmares, releasing things that are not part of our journey anymore. We have the termite spirit coming up and back into the track of the work, working one more time, much harder than before, gathering that which is there to support the family, support yourself. You don't want to do that anymore. I hear some of you don't want to do the whole support family thing. I mean, I wanted to say shame on you, but I'm just kidding. Okay. I'm just kidding. Making it lighter for what it is. The fact is, you're in a space where you're learning to develop your deeper nature of yourself at all times. This is what we're doing here. There is no other way to see it any other than the way that it's being presented and how to deal with it. What these collective readings are material information that give you insight as to what you're dealing with on a deeper level if you are unable to understand the measure of what you are being dealt with. This is why we are all here, and I'm saying thank you for you being here, because you require the deeper part of the wisdom to come through, and this is it. This is it. And it is an honor to always share this depth of wisdom with you. What we are looking at overall in the outer regions is that there's going to be a lot of emotional release in terms of things that don't belong anymore. You've already cut the frequencies off. You've already pulled yourself out of those things. So this reading is essentially a past where you're looking back at, because right now you are here. You're in the space of the rebirth space, where you are allowing yourself to begin again, now with the knowing that the old king has died. And hurrah, hurrah. That is basically what it is. The old king, in terms of old stuff that had control over your consciousness. Here is the sun. He is reborn, animus, the male, the Christ-like energy that is inside everyone, that is now being born after 3 days of after death. What are we looking at in overall to see the final answer from the Spirit? Mars, action. It's time to begin. This was your collective reading. This was the Arcana Veil.